Yes, hello. I am James Rhodes. It's WNR609. It's NXT, the Great American Bash. And luckily, I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod, ex House of Torture member, AEW Toxic Stanhausen, and in all honesty, the last real good guy. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
It's going great, going great. I'm excited. My intro is getting longer. I love it. Before you know it, my title will be so long that it will take the entire length of the intro just to announce me. I love it. I'm really starting to really appreciate this. I got to keep coming up with monikers, but we'll add to that as we go, as we have so brilliantly so far. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. Happy to be talking about NXT. Excited because we've had a few developments since the last time we talked about NXT. So it's always good to, try to get as close to up to date as we can. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and I feel like we're getting somewhere. Do you know what I mean? The start of the year we were so behind, and now I feel with the summer months and everything like
Yeah,
that. Like NXT's, like people go, "Well, you got 5 episodes." We do that in a month. What you talking about? You know?
for sure. Yeah, easily, man. It's not that bad. It's easy watching. It's easy to talk about. I'm expecting this one to be, a nice breeze of a show. But, again, we definitely got to get into it because NXT and wrestling in general is very fast moving, and NXT is just like that. Just, and, it's always something going on. So I'm excited to get into some of the nitty gritty.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we've got June 17th to July 14th, and of course the Great American Bashes, 5 NXTs. So let's get to it. When we had last left it, Zaria won the North America title, and I got to say, I did get a few bits of stick about Zaria, or I can't remember what I was saying. Was I saying last? Zaria, I think it was. So it is definitely Zaria, is her name, Monty. We can definitely just want to put it out there. Zaria. I'm saying it correctly.
Sorry. Okay.
Zaria. Yeah. Anyway, she won the North American Championship, and on June 17th, we got Corey Graves replacing Booker T, which again was not great.
Boo.
But Zaria came out to speak about her big moment. She should have been allowed to gloat as long as she wanted. Instead, Kalani Jordan came out supposedly to give her advice on what the future might hold for her, quickly turned the focus back on her own complaints. Kendall Gray and Lola Vice focused entirely on Jordan rather than the champion, and this led to a tag match later. But Monty, we're going to talk about it a lot, I think, with Zaria, but she already seems a little bit different with that championship over her shoulder. Do you know what I mean? Just a different. I've forgotten the days with Zolruka now.
I agree. Other than when she brings it up, I do think she kind of talks about it a little bit too much, like a little scorn X. I guess maybe that's the point. But again, she got the better of that, and like you said, she's definitely kind of shrugged off all of the ugliness of her early build and just how, again, I always bring up how when the vignettes and just what we had heard about her, I really thought she was going to dominate NXT, and it took a while. She had not only she had to find her footing, but it felt like the booking in general had to figure out how did they want to depict her, and it seems like now they're finally getting into their stride with her as far as like how her matches are put together, but also and how they're portraying her, but also she's even like you said, the confidence is there. The demeanor with the championship, she looks like a champion. Like she's always looked great, but I just think, like you said, it's more about her attitude and like even the way she delivers the promos. Just seems way more confident. Maybe it took a little time, but it seems like right now things are aligning. Her ability in the ring and her belief in her character seems to be aligning well with the way they're deciding to finally book her. So I think it's been kind of cool to finally see things come together. But the championship has definitely added an aura around her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, without that. As for the men's North American Championship, we had a normal contendership: Jackson Drake versus Tavian Heights. Drake had picked up lots of strong victories and lead up to this, but Heights, of course, got the win because we've had months of tension between Heights and Bourne, or teasing even, and they will fight one on one. The Women's Speed Championship was Izzy Dane beating the increasingly pointless Thea Hale. Naraku has done next to nothing in NXT so far, despite major ambitions, but he's presented an intriguing threat. And in the past, as Tony D smartly pointed out, he has run with a group, and that could be the plan again in NXT. He's also likely that Naraku's outwardly charming demeanor is a facade for something evil to come. It's just unclear what that could mean. Will Naraku simply cheat and steal his way to the top? Will he show a more ruthless side to take down Tony D? The one thing we know is Tony is always great with vignettes, and this is back to his best hit, you know.
Yeah, this right up Tony's alley, man. He's really good with the. I feel like when he goes to the main roster, the WWE production team is not going to have to direct him at all. He's going to
Mm.
have vignettes. He's going to have that all figured out. He's going to be great at the cinematics. So, yeah, man. So far to this point, Naraku. I'm so quick to call him evil, but he hasn't really done much. But yeah, I think that, like you said, that facade is falling, and it's gonna be exciting to see what more tricks do they try to throw in Naraku's bag in that regard because kind of like we mentioned with Zarya, it seems like when people come in, they may come some people come in and they have to kind of figure out how they want to go about things. So I think in the coming weeks we'll see how WWE decide or how NXT's creative decided to go in there go in what direction they decide to go in when it comes to Naraku.
Yeah, we got Natty versus Jada Parker next. Natty took Jada to the mat and forced Miss Parker to wrestle a different style than she has in the past. This was a smart pace for the first clash between these two, but it shouldn't be the last. Despite Natty's heel taunting, Miss Parker was clearly fighting a low-key legend with grit. She was anything but soft, but unfortunately, Jada had to tap to the sharpshoot, which, again, I know everybody's like, well, Natalia, but it's still, for me, a bit of a surprise, especially the kind of character Jada is, but maybe it proves she is a little bit soft.
Yeah, I think it's a point to this story right now, and that is the point. Part of the point is to try to prove that she can, that she may whether the character changes why she went soft, or maybe it's just a mentality thing. But also too, again, I think she's gonna benefit from the work with Natty. I know personally, she does work with Natty, has worked with Natty in the dungeon to improve. So I think WWE is just smart to kind of try to bring whatever they've been working on in the dungeon to television. And I think this match was a good example of it. It was a nice story. You can kind of can see that improvement, especially in the selling, in my opinion, for Jada Park. She really sold the pain of the sharpshooter and just she sold well throughout this match. And I think as a babyface, that is something that that's very important. But yeah, man, I think this is a really good one. It was a showcase, in my opinion, of Jada Parker's development. And then, like you said, you have a veteran like Natty. I think this is a great use of her because although they switched the character on the main roster to this version of Natty, obviously the main roster don't really. I don't think management has aspirations for Natty. Uh, Even though I think she does have much more to give, and she's like I said, she's in my opinion the reason why a lot of the talent that we know that are women have improved, and even men, because even like the Angelo Dawkins
Mm.
and such, and the Street Profits, both of them have been in the dungeon working with Natty and improving. So yeah, man, I'm happy that Natty's here because I think she can help a lot of the rest of this division along the way greatly. But yeah, I understand your sentiment about Jada because it is one of the things to where I feel like she's losing. Not that it's a problem that she's losing, but it's hard to not recognize that her attitude changed. She gave a great babyface promo, and she didn't get like the big winning push that some babyfaces get. She got the you put up a great effort, but you lose push. And I'm not saying you don't need to learn how to lose. I know, understand this development, and she does. It is value to that. But at some point, we want to see her get over that mountain, and maybe we just need to give it a little time.
Yeah, without a doubt. Women's Speed Championship Tournament, Ariana Grace beat Layla Diggs. I mean, Grace, the former Knockouts champ, needed this win. Diggs got a nice character moment in knocking down the rest of the Birthright at ringside. The main event was a tag match made earlier, Lola Vice and Kendall Gray versus Zaria and Kalani Jordan. After a competitive match, it turned to a bit of a mess at times. Tatum came out, distracted Zaria, which led Lola Vice hitting a spin kick and a back fist to pin the North American champion Paxley. Azaria then brawled before the end of the broadcast. But again, you can't really go wrong with a tag match in safe hands in the women's division, aren't you?
Yeah, I agree with that. And this is the quintessential WWE booking. It remind me of like the Raws. They all kind of got involved with the program, old school Raws. They're not even old school because even today on Monday Night Raw, you probably can get some of this. But start off with the promos and all of that, and they get involved, and then they argue, and that leads to the tag match. But I thought this was a really good match. Like you said, is a safe way to go. It advanced two stories at one time. When it comes to the world title scene and Kaylani's involvement in that, but also Zarya, and you even got a Paxley appearance towards the end of the match to kind of set it up. I was kind of annoyed because, like we talked about, Zarya had been on a roll, and she kind of looked so good at the beginning of the show, just to end up, taking the pin here. But with the way things turned out. And like the story that was told, and you kind of know, and if you know where we're heading, which is like in a couple weeks from here, it makes sense. So, I'll let it slide. But yeah, that was probably my only annoyance about it was that Zarya had been so dominant, and to watch her kind of take the pin was annoying. But again, like I said, Kaylani is obviously hovering around the world title, even if she's not the number one contender. So, I thought this all made sense. And like you said, safe hands. So I thought the match went well too.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, so we've been well, I've been watching TNA now for the past few years and been trying to add it to the NXT updates. But let's just talk about what a fucking mess it is, or it was at this time, because there was news of selling the company, and then
Yeah.
we had Steve Macklin was gone, Sammy Callahan went, Eric Young, Tommy Dreamer, who was the main writer of TNA,
Yeah.
went, and a lot of people were upset. But I mean, the response he got was very interesting because, again, maybe a lot of people were upset, but a lot of people try to maybe come forth and talk about Tommy Dreamer as well. There's a lot of other stuff, but you would think, Monty, when TNA were just about, joining AMC, um, uh, and it's not just WWE, it's the Rascals and stuff like AEW, but it's just awful. It just looks so amateur. It just looks so TNA.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I've been mentioning when we talk about certain things that goes on. It's just like they continue to get in their own way, and it's very, very like I forgot about that. It's a great point. When they signed the TV deal to AMC and even the television that they were kind of putting on, and I know some of that was in conjunction with the NXT roster, but it just felt like they had did a great job of finally starting to restore. Not, I don't want to say good faith with the fan base because I think TNA has a really loyal fan base. Because if you think about how many ups and downs the company has had, the fact they still have people who are willing to like devote so much time to the product is just shows you, how loyal the fan base is. But like you said, it's a shame, in my opinion, that they just seem to continuously do bad business or be accused of doing bad business, be involved in, like you said, not being able to develop or keep talent. And, don't even get me started on all the other backstage problems and just possibly not being able to even pay talent. And you would think with the TKO involvement, now again, we talked about it, TKO in general when even with what they're doing in WWE, it's not really necessarily a godsend, in my opinion, to be under the TKO umbrella. But again, they had did a lot of things, in my opinion, to kind of seemingly push good for faith. But it almost feels like anything that they were doing at that time was just in desperate hopes of getting a TV deal. And once they got that deal, it was like, all right, we can go back to just poorly running this shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's really frustrating when you really think about how fast things went from it feeling like Impact was on the rise, or at least improving. In the future may have been something, but now we're back flirting with the idea of, like you said, it being sold and possibly who knows what that really entails. Because if you ask me, they still have a little bit of the talent, but who's to say any of the talent that you can look at and be like, this is somebody TNA can prosper with in the future? Who of them that you could honestly say would stay and not go to WWE right across the street to Orlando for WWE or to another promotion, whether it's Japan or AEW? It's like, in my opinion, why would I stay loyal to Impact to try to build their brand up with the way that they have not been able to kind of develop or keep the talent that has been loyal to them?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about TNA coming up as well, but yeah, what a fucking mess it was. On to NXT, June 24th, the show opens with Tony D'Angelo asking Robert Stone if Naraku has signed a contract yet. Stone says he will tonight, but he needs Tony to wait in line. Aaron Rourke walks past, and D'Angelo wishes him luck. Rourke thanks him for one champion to another, and then he makes his entrance ahead of our first match. Vic Joseph's there with Wade Barrett. And then Tristan Angels makes his entrance to get our opening match going. Charlotte Hill got involved, and it was clear down the stretch that Rourke would have lost if not for the interference. Aaron then hit a cyclone kill and goes up top and wins with the Molly go round. This is the men's division, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about. I think I know who I'm talking about. A slightly, shall we say, flamboyant guy. But again, if you've not watched Evolve or LFG, it is such again a culture shock. I can feel how people feel. You know what I mean? Even when in the main roster from NXT talent, and it's like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on? It's
Yeah, I
just a
just
few.
think we can do a better job. Like you said, even when they debut talent from NXT on the main roster, we probably could do a much better job of trying to at least set the scene and help us understand. Even NXT's involvement with AAA at times, in my opinion, is very, very lackluster in the way they just say, "Oh, well, here go this guy, this luchador from the AAA. Yeah, he's gonna fight, a guy and it's just a random match." For a championship sometimes or not, and it's just like, okay, all right, fine match, if whether it's fine match or not. But it's like, what am I supposed to think about this? Am I just supposed to just sit here and watch you shove the wrestling in my face for no reason? Like, who is this for? Because it's not really a story there, and it's not really. We have no clue who these people are, or what does it mean? I've never liked the involvement of Evolve because it's so shoddy. It's like, do you want us to just watch Evolve and make that a separate brand, or is it developmental to NXT? Because that's kind
Mm.
of what it feels like. And if it's developmental to NXT, what does it? How good is it that the Evolve champion is beating NXT talent? Like, I don't know what it means. Now again, I understand with the Killer Gray crossover, they may have kind of struck gold in a sense from their point of view with the way they did the Killer Gray thing. But how many Evolve matches from Killer Gray did either one of us really get a chance to see?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they kind of did okay with that. But even that took time, and she was kind of getting involved with Ren and doing other, like, at least give us something else to attach to the guy other than here you go, there goes Evolve champion guy, so he's important. Pay attention. It's like, yeah, we could do a lot better, in my opinion, in doing this. But in my opinion, you also, whether you like Tristan Angels or not, you're kind of halting his momentum because he's not that new. He's new also. He's a newer face to NXT. So it's like you're halting his momentum to put over a guy that we're not gonna watch or see again. Maybe we'll see him again in a couple weeks. But unless you're watching Evolve, you're not gonna keep up with work. So it's just weird to me. But that's just how they want to do it right now.
Well, in the parking lot, Tony D rolls up on Naraku demanding he signs the contract. General Manager Robert Stone tries to get him to hand the contract over, but Naraku said he wants to give it to Tony personally and says, and new as he hands it over. D'Angelo snatches it, and Stone yells at Naraku about it. Tony opens the contract, and a fireball shoots out, burning his face. My God. Wow. How how brilliant was this? Not on just an NXT level, but like, the old Japanese heel with a fireball, eh? Oh, you gotta love it.
Yeah, it was very tropey, but I kind of like the trope. I like the trope. I'll admit it. I understand. Like, I've seen criticism of, like, WWE not. I've trust me. It's a long-standing criticism of WWE not really knowing how to book Japanese wrestlers, especially heels. Like, if it's not the fireball, you probably not just WWE, but like just wrestling in general. You're not. If it's not the fireball in America, in American wrestling, if it's not the fireball from the Japanese heel, it's gonna be the mix. It's just kind of how
Yeah.
it goes. But uh, again, it's like you said, it's an old school trope in my opinion. It's like Ric Flair getting on the top rope and he's gonna not be able to do anything but get through off the top rope. Like, it's just something that's a classic type of move, and I thought it was a great way to kind of is it a little bit tone deaf, maybe an old school of the like, oh yeah, the Japanese man and his trickery. Sure, if you want to look at it that way, I get it. But at the same time, I think if you watched Evil too, it didn't feel so off brand. For you watched the House of Torture in Japan, did it feel off brand for Evil? Like it was a little hokey laugh in a sense, but it felt House of Torture esque almost to me. Maybe I'm just too much of a fanboy to look at it without those shades. But still, I loved it. I thought again it was a great callback to not only Japanese wrestling history, but just a great way to kind of establish this. He is not who he seems to be, because if you really go back to even when it comes to giving gifts to Tony D, Evil or Naraku, in my opinion, has kind of been a little bit unorthodox. He's off the gift. He's acting like he was going to protect him, and then immediately, showed this other side. So, yeah, is it a little bit hokey? Can you look at it and say it's childish and whatever? Sure, but I got a kick out of it, and I love Evil's laugh, like that. It's very very. He really seemed to enjoy doing it, so I liked it.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I don't have no problem with evil is history. The fact of like with Tony D, I don't feel sorry for him because he used to put people in his trunk and murder them. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's
You know
like,
what? That's a great point. To anybody criticizing this, do not forget that Tony D was a mobster.
yeah, the amount of people he killed and did stuff too. Like people forget. You got short memories, you know. But no, this was fun. Stuck on Sugars, Dion Lennox came face to face. Sugars was on fire throughout this segment with Lennox. However, Lennox does deserve credit for his confidence on the mic, standing up to Sugars and delivering on his own. I'm nearly interested. Birthright versus Hank and Tank. I mean, this was again. It was there, you know.
how
Hank
far
and
how
Tank.
far have they fallen?
I just, well, the biggest spot was Charlie Dempsey falling onto his crotch, falling on the crotch of Lexus King, wasn't it? So Hank and Tank did get the win. NXT promised a double contract sign, instead relegated the NXT Women's Championship to a quick backstage sit down, which they sold their tensions. Vice spoke as the heel in this segment, talking down about Gray replacing her. This will likely continue into their match, but again, I'm surprised that not to shit on Layla Gray because everybody's, apparently, backstage like her. But the thing is I'm surprised that the crowd are behind Gray over Lola. Do you know what I mean? Or, it seems I'm surprised by that, maybe in a good way.
Yeah, I don't think they. Again, I don't know if it's that they're tired of a Lola Vice in a sense, or is it a shiny new thing type of thing when it comes to Kendall Gray? Because I agree. But I also think everybody can kind of see that not only management can see and are behind Kendall Gray, but she is a very talented, wrestler. At least she showcased a skill level that you really can appreciate. Now, I will say, to me personally, as a fan, personality wise, and again, you got to give her a little bit more. In my opinion, she need more time, more storylines for me to kind of get behind her. But like if you think Lola Vice is bland, I don't think Kendall Grice is any more or less bland. Like in my opinion, like I don't know how you can look at it and say that Kendall Gray is not any more bland, especially on the mic at this point in this stage in her career. I think she definitely can improve and things can change, but. Like I said, I always point out that the Kurt Angle comparisons, and I get it. She caught on to wrestling really great, but Kurt was as a character is unmatched because he was not only hilarious, but he also had a gear of seriousness that you had to always entertain. And that's why I be always saying, be careful when we try to say what someone is as far as like a comparison goes. But again, I understand because I also can see the talent of Kendall Gray, and I get it. But yeah, it is kind of, I don't want to say weird because I understand it, but it is definitely, like you said, surprising that it seems like the fans are obviously in one woman's corner over the other, especially in this, both babyface type of build we have.
Mm. Yeah, EK Prosper versus Kiana Carver was next. Carver dominated the match, but Prosper floated over a powerbomb attempt to get the upset win. Carver didn't take it well as the powerbombed EK Prosper through the announce test. And Monty, can I just mention something. I don't spend too long on it, because again, I feel this could be a discussion on its own. But I've heard people say EK can be like the next Javon, or Carver could be the next Oba. Like, can we not do that?
I agree.
From both senses. For me, it's like I don't think you're going to get another Javon Evans or Obafemi or even a Trick Williams coming out
Yeah,
anytime. Do you know how lucky I think we are to have that? But again, I don't know if people are doing it because of that or just because of. Do you know what I mean? They're black,
yeah,
basically. I don't understand.
right,
I'm
right.
gonna
It's a
I'm gonna
double.
put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not.
Right. No, it's a double edge. It's definitely some undertones to it, in my opinion, to where it's just like, wow, like like you have, if you're gonna say that, you have to explain, because if you just think Keanu, I don't know what you, especially with the Oba Keanu to me, well, both comparisons are ridiculous. If you just look at what we've seen so far, I think EK Prosper is a great athlete. Yes, yes, I can see the athleticism and what he could do, but so far, he has not showcased anything that's of the freak level that Javon has in the ring. And even if he did, I'm always a big component, kind of like what I mentioned with Kim LeGray and the whole, oh, she's like the female modern day Kurt Angle type thing. I'm just like, can we let these young talent be something else? Can we let Keanu Carver just try to be more of like a different thing? Like, just because he's a big, like you said, big black, and he just so happens to have, I guess, locks too. Like, that does not equal Obafemi. Like, Obafemi is not Obafemi just because of that. Like, it's a feeling. It's the reason why everybody immediately has taken to him on the main roster. It's also the way what he can do in the ring got him to the level that he's at. And same thing with Javon Evans. Like, they had a track record that got him. That boy bounces, like, it's a unique style. The vertical leap and all that he brings to the ring. So if you're gonna say that, I need a real explanation behind it instead of just saying it. So yeah, I understand completely. Because so far in EK's career and Keanu's career, neither one of them have showcased any of that level of upside to me yet. Now, again, even if EK, in my opinion, or both, or Keanu, even if either one improves to be something great, I still don't believe we need to immediately be like, oh, okay, we have us an Obafemi, oh, now we have us another Javon Evans. But it's like, no, you have your EK Prosper and you have your Keanu Carver, and allow them to actually be something unique. But it's definitely two conversations being had there, because I do believe it's a section of the audience that are saying that just because of what they look like, and I believe it might be people out there who possibly can see a young athletic guy and say, oh, okay, that's kind of like a Javon Evans type of talent in EK, and you can see a big powerhouse type of guy in Keanu Carter. But as far as like, do you think they are actually need worthy comparisons? No, I don't think so. So I don't know. Again, I think that in wrestling we get a little bit lazy. Even like as wrestling fans, people get a little lazy, in my opinion. Whether it's a couple moves or similar or whatever it is. I don't see I forgot what his name is in WWE. I'm about to call him Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't look at Powerhouse Hobbs and just see, oh yeah, he's big and he's powerhouse. Man, him and Obafemi got a lot in common.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't see that. That you can be, and I do think some of this too. Whether if we want to be honest about it, some of this is WWE's fault for only allowing us to have a set number of those type of talents at a certain time. In my opinion, I do believe some of this is tied to this. It's not. I don't want to blame. It's not WWE. I think the fans or the people who say these things have to look into themselves and actually ask themselves why. And you have to understand like what you're doing. But at the same time, some of this is, in my opinion, derived of, we only got these other black people to reference, so we only gonna reference these black people. If you don't do that with white talent, no one is looking at a random white talent and saying this is the next this or that. You know what I'm saying? Like, now every now and then you get a similar thing. I think like Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. I don't think they got a lot in common ring wise, in my opinion. I think Charlotte at this stage of her career, when you compare her to Tiffany, was putting on better matches overall, in my opinion. But they're athletic and they're blonde. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it kind of happens to other people too. But I do think some of this blame can go on the lack of variety of I was about to say variety. Well, I'm right. The lack of like variety in booking different types of black talent, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it now. And again, I don't know how long the podcast is going to last for, whatever it is, but I think we'll look back in 20 years or whatever it is, 10, 15 years. And what Trick, what Oba, and what Javon have done will be looked upon much like the class of '02 when it was, Batista, Cena, Orton, and Les. I truly believe that how special that, and maybe you can throw Mello into that conversation as well. Like you said, we see
I
what
would like
happens
to
there.
if
But
WWE book them, but yeah.
yeah. But again, but like we talked about, someone like Swerve who had to go to AEW, but then became the star kind of they deserved as
Hmm.
well. Like you said, it's something that like people have to. That's what even with Leon Slater in TNA, I felt like he had a much bigger ceiling because once he comes to WWE, it will be like you said, put in a position, and I
Box,
just
right? Immediately be
Ex
put in the box,
yeah,
right?
and it's just I don't know, but again, that's I mean, fucking take the money, Slater. No, I don't care. Any, anyway, back to NXT. Ariana Grace versus Izzy Dame for the number one contendership for the Speed Women's title. Sean Spears demands a high five. Izzy gives in and charges in, and Grace catches her with a small package to become the number one contender. Post match, Dame stares daggers at Spears, but I'm sure it'll be all right. We've got DVD and Sean Legacy versus Nico Vance and Sean Spears. Sean, that's Legacy with a 450 splash. DVD with a shooting star on Spears for the win. And Nico could stand no more. He took out his mentor. And again, it was just like, well, of course, like Spears is a fucking idiot. But um, I don't feel sorry for him at all. But again, Nico Vance, yeah, he's a big guy, but again, we knew this was coming, and it just shows WWE's mismanagement of groups in NXT as well. I'm going to say it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And they never really. The crazy thing is, at least most groups, hell, even the Dyad back in the day, felt like they had a stick or whatever, or at least they had something to where we could like whatever. But like, yeah, in this case, the culling, in my opinion, have just been like bad from the beginning, like boring and bad. They never got any more interested. They never really got involved with anything. And like you say the management of groups, hell, I can say the same thing about Dark State, but Dark State is at least with so far at least this with this Shaquan Sugars stuff. At least with that part, this narrative so far, it seems to be at least a little bit more interesting. In this situation, like they did it, in my opinion, too. It happened so fast, like back to back matches and all that, to where I was just like, so when the way you break up with a guy from a faction, usually the guy who kind of gets turned on in Sean Spears fashion, we're waiting after this for that guy to possibly get revenge, and now we're gonna get a storyline. But I don't think anybody wants. Like I don't think anybody wants the Sean. Who's gonna be invested in the Sean Spears revenge angle? Like you said, it's like no one really cares in my opinion. I don't know. I know I just watched him like, oh, okay, well, I can't even blame him. Like that, you're not supposed to watch somebody be heel on their teammate or whatever and just be like, yeah, I've never seen it booked like that to where you're just like, okay, you guys turned on them, and no one is mad at it at all.
Honestly, yeah. If I had a pound for every time a group broke up in NXT, I'd literally probably have about £1,000 now. General manager Robert Stone's in the ring, holding the NXT Men's Championship. He says Great American Bash is too big, and the title match will happen. But right now, he brings out the man responsible, Naraku, who says no one will face him. He'll take the championship. Enter Mason Rook, who says that this is NXT. Enter the Vanity Project. Drake questions Mason having the fortitude to ask for the title shot. Drake calls Rook pork chop, and Mason charges him and they fight to the floor. Naraku gets in Robert's face and says that no one will challenge him. Stone says it was never Mason or Jackson. It was always him. And then Tony D'Angelo is here with half his face bandaged and bloodied. Here Naraku brawl. Tony gets him up for the spine buster, and Naraku claws his injured eye and gets away. Wow, the American health system recovery. That is fantastic, Monty. Do you know that? He got wheeled off in an ambulance and got all that recovery and came back before the end of the show. Doesn't happen in Britain, mate. Doesn't happen.
I just want to let you know that is not supposed to happen here. I'm trying to figure out what medical what medical place he went through. You can have your face burned off, and they'll still be trying to check your insurance and stuff around here to make sure you can pay for it. So Yeah. So I agree. I don't know exactly where they took him. Maybe it's just shout out to the Orlando medical system, man. Because yeah, I ain't never heard that either. I agree, but I don't. This was so like NXT cheesy. So NXT cheesy, man. Like it's all like you said. It's always been him lying. So you brought people out here to waste their time.
Honestly.
Like, and he was always ready to come back. I thought it was so ridiculous. But for a second there, I almost thought that Evil. I knew you were never gonna get the belt, but I was like, is they gonna find a way to kind of like screw Evil into, like a championship? But like, then I came to my senses like, nah, the heels never win that way. He almost came off like a genius though. Like I've never really thought about that. Like if you injure your opponent after in this situation, would that reward you the belt? I really want to figure out who gave him the idea for that because it's such a funny plan because it never works. But yeah, this is great. Does Tony D look great like this, or does he look insane? Again, NXT loves to play. They it's a fine line between just the insanity and what NXT likes to do. They love to be on that line of just like straight up ridiculousness and wrestling.
So June 28th, this was the weekend of like every show ever, basically. I think Night of Champions
Mm-hmm.
was on the 27th. We had Forbidden Door, which seems again like an age ago. We had Great American Bash. Before that, we had Slammiversary. Just quick notes there. Mustafa Ali defended his international title against Rich Swann and Uhaa Nation. Of course, the former Apollo Crews, and unfortunately hasn't been seen since. So I guess that was a one-off deal. But again, good to see Uhaa back. Zaya Brookside beat Li Ying Lee. And there was a stat here I couldn't believe. She became the first British knockout champion. I never ever thought in my how far behind Impact were with that.
Right? Do they just not scout British women wrestlers? It's just like we don't need the. The funny thing about that, if I remember, like Impact get used to draw great crowds.
I don't, yeah,
Insane.
I don't understand, but yeah, but fair play, Zaya. The Hardys won it back the tag titles, and Nick Nemeth beat Mike Santana for the TNA Championship. Mike is done with AEW, so I'm looking forward to Spike Montana showing up in NXT soon. And also, Leon Slater has been paired with Ricky Sosa to try and give him the rub before he goes as well. So I'm not going to say dark times because TV did improve with Tommy Dreamer, but yeah, there's doesn't look good for the stars at the moment. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I'm just I was just about to ask you like who do like Leon, if you think Leon is not re-signing, which he probably shouldn't. Uh, who else is there to put it on the back of? Are y'all gonna put it on the YouTuber that I know that wrestles there? Or who is Impact gonna put the money behind right now? Because without Leon, it's looking pretty bleak if you ask me. And then you got just lost Mike. And like you said, I know he will be highly touted and be probably in WWE. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
it's
you can
not.
give it back to Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, but at least Dolph Ziggler and Hardy's are champions. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
No, but like I said, it is a struggle, and I'll get
I'm
to
talking about
Bound for
the
Glory.
future, though. Like, not the
Yeah,
40-year-old.
that is
They're good
like I said,
on the 40-year-old. They got that covered. They got the 40-year-olds.
we've got Eddie Edwards. Like,
Oh, my goodness.
anyway, it's Great American Bash time, June 28th as well. We got the kickoff in studio, sit down with Gray. Hilariously, we heard the audio from the outside segment later. So we heard a lot of, guys going, get in place, guys. Make sure you're cheering. Be happy. We got a Born sit down, him and Taven are brothers who like fishing. Good. I guess, Monty, at this point in time, the NQCC are the most important group in NXT history. If you, you just look at
A
the
two-person
members.
group. Two
Like,
people.
well, no, if you include Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair with it, then you know what I mean. tights with what he's had with the North American title and
Oh yeah, yeah. So
maybe
everybody but
Dempsey
Charlie.
rolled. Yeah, everybody but the leader, the
Everybody
original.
but the leader. Everybody but the former leader. Jesus.
Uh, anyway, Tristan Angel sit down. Unfortunately, he was clothed. Kevin Owens joined Blake Howard for a barbecue that we heard get upset up earlier. And then the main show, we got another PC PLE, boo, and waiting for Booker, boo. But the NXT Championship was on the line, and one-eyed Tony D'Angelo faced Naraku, who headed outside and grabbed a steel chair, but Tony immediately speared him through the stage. Honestly, that thing gets broken so many times as well. The former Evil fought back by targeting the bandaged eye of the NXT Champion. He sent him eye first into the apron with Enter the Abyss and hard into the barricade, but the NXT Champ fought his way back with a running powerbomb and a pair of German suplexes. Now Raku responded with his own German suplex, but Tony rolled through, fired up, and hit his elevated spinebuster to forget about it for the victory. Um, right, we should say first and foremost that this was the first time a PLE was also on the CW. So that's why they had an ad break during. But at that point, I was like, "Fuck this!" Do you know what I mean? I'm already pissed off. Watched the replay. I didn't have picture in picture. This is another reason why I'd like AEW more. You know what I mean? But again, um, I mean, takeovers are dead. Come on, let's just talk about it. But again, this wasn't bad, but it made it into an NXT match, you know. And after all the build, after what happened with the burning of the face and the stuff, you know.
Yeah. I think to me it really shows where we are. Even the way this card was put together. Even like you with the good ladies main event, and don't get me wrong, I support. I've been championing the women's division for years on this podcast when it comes to NXT. About and like I think they deserve the main event. Hell, they probably should have been main event more often during a couple of other
Mm.
title runs. But I thought when you add the flame build and everything that we seem to be going, this is supposed to be the world championship match, like the placement of the match being an opening match, like everything about this match just kind of felt like you said, just not like what I'm used to when it comes to like you said, takeovers. And luckily they don't call them that anymore because I think even they know we can't keep tarnishing. We can't tarnish the takeover name by throwing these glorified just like special because that's what they felt like. Because until you mentioned that it was live, it was that it was PLE timed and on CW. Because I only watched the replay, I literally you could have fooled me telling me that this was just a special NXT episode. Don't get me wrong, I thought this match was good because I didn't have to deal with the ad breaks. I got lucky. I got a chance to watch the match as probably how it was intended, and I thought it was actually a lot better than what I didn't really. I thought it was a lot better than even what I was expecting. But I do think it was certain things about the match that, like you said, kind of keeps it from being like world championship quality or even PLE slash takeover quality. Like I just thought it was a really good TV title match, and that's what it ended up being. I do think Naraku. I saw a little bit of criticism online. I do think Naraku looks a little bit. It's hard to not look weak when you burn a guy in the in the eye days before the match, and he just kind of, you know, powers through and beats you if the without the eye injury. I think I like this match even more. Almost because I think then Tony D just kind of was just too much for Naraku. But you a guy here with like half his face burnt off, his pose allegedly still can't really see you, and I'm not saying I expected him to win because again, Tony D is the man right now. Obviously, I don't necessarily think this is built well enough for a title change at this moment. But I do think it's hard for Naraku not to look a little bit weak, in my opinion. When you do all of that, you limit your opponent. They actually gave like the perfect excuse for Naraku to kind of shock, win the belt, even if you let Tony D win it back. I don't
Mm.
think it's hard for me not to see why you just wouldn't go with the finish or allowing him to cheat. He kind of got beat a little bit too easily, in my opinion. Also, just a little bit. But again, like you said, I think all of that together added up to what felt like just a really good TV match. But like, did it feel like a world championship match at all to me? Watching it, outside of a few moments, like you said, the spear through the thing, I thought it started off hot and heavy, and I did like even when Narako kind of got him back by throwing him into the barricade and breaking it. It was some moments in the match where I actually thought, okay, this is a good match. I thought Evil did well, and I thought even Tony D, I thought he did a really good job making Tony D look good, but it was a little bit too much in my opinion. It felt a little too easy for the one eyed man in my opinion, and how he kind of disposed of Naraku. But at the end of the day, I thought it was solid. But yeah, it definitely felt more like television quality.
What would you score out of five?
Uh 3 3/4, I think. I think I'll give it 3 3/4. I thought it was good. I think it would maybe a little bit more time, a little bit more intensity. And like I said, maybe especially without the eye patch, I probably would have gave it higher.
Yeah, no, I gave it 3 3/4 as well. One thing I want to mention as well is obviously you get the clips of special Great America Bash moments or even through NXT history. And surely it's time now to be able to show Keith Lee and Adam Cole clips. I mean, especially if the rumors are true about Keith Lee, then it's a real shame if he's going to retire Monty. But I mean, Adam Cole's basically
Yeah.
retired as well,
I was
and
about
they
to
were
say both
so
of those guys at this
yeah,
point are pretty much retired. So yeah, I
so
don't think you're
important
gaining
to.
anything or losing anything from doing it.
Yeah, and I still remember that. I'm sure it's a Great American Bash. You know what I mean? I'm not looked up, but I know Keith Lee. But yeah, I'm gonna put money on it's a Great American Bash. It happened. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
they need to start doing it. They won't because it's WWE and they're bastards. But predictions. WNR Prediction League 2026. This is after Forbidden Door Night of Champions, but before Great American Bash Redemption and SummerSlam. Oh my word. So WWE right now, I'm on two, Monty's on three, Jackson Gina on four. AEW, I'm on one, Monty on two, Jackson three, Gina four, and bonus. Jackson on 10, James and Gina on 12, Monty's on 13. We all went Tony D, so we're all on one. Up next was the Women's North American Championship. Zaria versus Tatum Paxley. Zaria threw around Paxley early in the contest, but the former champion pulled the current champ under the apron, used the opening to repeatedly strike her. She tried to choke her out over the barricade, but the champion powered her way free, landing Paxley hard on the floor. The challenger continued to use her environment to help her advantage, including a snap superplex, popping up only to take a spear. The two met on the apron, laying in strikes until Paxley reversed an F5 attempt into a sunset flip powerbomb. We then got a tug of war for the Women's North American Championship. Paxley hit a cemetery dive outside, followed by in ring for a near fall. The champion tried another cemetery drive. The challenger tried another cemetery drive. That Zaria reversed into an F5 attempt. Paxley reversed into a sunset flip, but a spear and an F5 could still not keep Paxley down. Zaria stomped Paxley's neck harshly into the mat and then finished her off with another F5. All I'm going to say is thank God for the women came through. This should have started the show and it would have started with a bang.
Yeah, I kind of actually agree with that. Like I said, I thought Naraku and Tony D started off like the way the match started off. It felt like that maybe been a great way to kick the show off. But yeah, this match, in my opinion, probably would have kept more people. I'm not saying they didn't keep people watching, but who knows? I just feel like this match was so good, and it's definitely one of my candidates. We'll see how I score things going down because I do this scoring on the fly for the most part. But this is one of my, if not my favorite match of the night, definitely one of my favorite matches. Like they had the greatly timed false finishes towards the end. I thought the clash of styles, like Tatum Paxton, in my opinion, is one of my favorite people to watch wrestle, just in general. Like out of all the brands, like even when it's AEW, I enjoy watch because she does things on it differently in a match than I've almost ever seen. There's always a couple of things she do where I'm just like, damn, I wasn't expecting it. And so I thought they really did a good job. I thought the intensity was great in this one. I thought Tatum sold well. But even towards the end there, once she did like her cemetery drive twice and like Zarya kicking out the way she did, and like even her facial expressions were great too. So I really did like it. And then like even with the L5 kick out that I wasn't really expecting, I was like, okay, they really, really, in my opinion, played the ups and downs of a match to a great fashion, in my opinion. Like the sunset flip powerbomb you mentioned to the outside of the ring was a nice moment. to, even if I thought Zarya kind of popped up out of nowhere a little bit too fast. But it was great. It was really great. I don't know how much time they had, but they made the most of the time. And I think I really, really enjoyed the match. I think Tatum Paxley is like, I'm not saying I don't want her to go to the main roster. I would love her to switch divisions and just do more in NXT. But like, if you want to tell me Tatum Paxley is a finished product, I think she's more of a finished product than some people they've already called up, if you ask me. So I really like what Tatum Paxley has done with her body of work and her improvement. And Zarya, I think we really just getting started. Like, Zarya's on a pace or a trajectory to me to where you can have her carry that belt to the world championship if she wants those aspirations down the line. Because I really believe they've done a really good job of, like you said, rebranding her and making her feel like that monster that I think we both kind of felt like she was going to be, based off just her debut vignettes and stuff. So yeah, man, I really liked this match a lot. I thought both ladies came out looking great. Like, Zarya looked unstoppable, but even Tatum Paxley didn't look like she was a slouch either. Like, they gave Tatum a champion quality loss, and I thought Zarya also at the same time came away from it looking great. So it was. I really don't. I'm trying to think of a flaw off the top of my head with this match, but I genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Paxley. Like Cesaria's upped it up a level, wasn't she? And this was excellent. Had my full attention, and I mean my full attention. I was trying to see where they put, and he didn't put a single foot wrong. Didn't put a single. There wasn't a single error or a misstep from
Nope.
either. So I'm going to give it a 5, Monty. I don't know what you're going to score. People might be like, "What?" And no, it's a 5 for me because there was nothing wrong. If you look at the whole match, not a
Right.
single
And it
thing.
made
Not
me.
like
I'm
ducking under a
Go ahead.
clothesline, or do you know what I mean? Or
Right.
nothing.
Something looking a little slow or
Mm.
something or whatever, or even something going wrong and somebody hurting themselves. Like, nothing like that happened. So I have to agree with you. And it made me, when I watched the match, I was like, why haven't I heard it? Why didn't I don't remember. Not again, it may be my own fault for not necessarily being on social media around the time that this aired, or because, like, and you know what? I think I know why. I think it may have got lost in all of the mess of the weekend
Yeah.
of the booking. And this is why my argument of just let's not try to compete. Like, I don't think this match got enough love in, like, just from people, in my opinion, than it should have gotten. But maybe it get more love if it's not right with Forbidden Door. If it's not, right after a WWE pay per view or whatever. Like this, something like this should be seen by more eyes and appreciated. Because like you said, I don't really think they did anything wrong. I give it 5 stars also.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Predictions, we went Zaria. We're all on 2. The Vanity Project say they will be booked Tuesday. That's good. Owens with Howard Blake at the cookout. Kev says he's a fan of Angels. And we know Kevin Owens is entertaining. But again, why do they have to put him on like an NXT? Do you know what I mean? Barbecue. It's so random. It's like,
So
put him
random.
on, especially if it's like, I swear I went through a stage on SmackDown where it was just like Graves and Cole, Graves and Cole, Graves and so put Owens on there then. Do you know what I mean? Put him as a
Right.
third man if that's what he wants
if
to
he,
do.
if he obviously needs something to do, like, you can find better usage of his time. Like, even as just like you said, somebody who's doing commentary or backstage segments with Sami Zayn, because Sammy at this point, if I remember right, didn't he just become champion or something like that? Like,
Yeah.
he can just have so much more to get offer if you just need to find something for Kevin to do. And like, what proved to me, and I'm not trying to accuse Kevin of not watching the product, but it made me look. I was looking at Kevin and he said that Tony D doesn't even have an eyeball anymore, does he? And just like, I'm like, Kevin don't want to. Kevin don't. I'm not. Again, Kevin is entertaining. He's great, but I'm like, Kevin is not invested in this enough. And like, why is he even there? Like, I really just was like, okay,
Uh,
yeah. Came to the same conclusion of just like, yeah, this was just a waste of time. But you know, it's great. It's great to see him. So hopefully, he's doing well.
yeah, this is the thing after night champions. Like, yeah, the previous night, why couldn't he be there to like hug his friend as he won the championship?
Yes,
Because he was busy at a cookout at the Great American Bash the next day
right,
with Blake Howard.
right. For some reason, yeah, we can't afford to fly him to to Saudi, but we can make him work. Why?
Oh God. Anyway, let's get serious. Charlotte Hill versus Justin Angels next, and Hill quickly got his Mr. NXT sash back from Angels, who had no answers for chaotic power and speed of his opponent. During the pit break, Angels began to turn the tide, throwing Hill into the turnbuckle and using the ropes to wear him down. Charlo slipped under the ring, and when Angels followed, he got a phone call saying the fog is coming for choking out Angels in a hockey mask. Angels slipped away and tried to throw Hill onto the steel stairs. Hill fought off and ran up the stairs for a spear back in the ring. Hill and Angels fought the second rope where Hill hit the whisper of the beast for the victory. Emily Agard interviewed the winner after. He said, "No one sleeps on Shiloh Hill." I mean, to be fair, mate, this match had two ad breaks in it, so maybe someone did sleep on Charlie Hill. And it's the men's division again bringing us down. You know what I'm saying, Monty? It makes me sick. But I mean, this was all right. Hill was heavy. This is the funny thing. Under the ring stuff obviously was filmed earlier in the night, you know. Um,
Right.
but again, as for the match, you know, Hill has every gimmick going now. It seems.
I was gonna give it props because I don't think I ever watched a match where they filmed under the ring simultaneously, like while the mid match. And also I think, like you mentioned, Shiloh Hill fucking teleported, right? Like, like you said, it was obviously shot before, but like from our television view, he teleported. He was literally choked him and did somehow behind him to choke him again out once he got off from under the ring. It was ridiculous from that point of view, but at the same time, I don't really know what the kind of. I think because they're doing so much with him, like he's a comedy guy, but at the same time, he's supposed to have this, I guess, scary side to him. I don't really know what to make of him, and I wonder how. And if somebody like me who's watched enough ridiculous wrestling to feel, plenty of. I don't know. I think I've seen a lot. I might have seen. I don't think I've seen it all, but I've seen close to it. He's one of those people that I just really don't know what to kind of make of him. And I wonder how many other fans or people who watch the product don't necessarily know what to make of Shiloh Hill. I don't think he's not a good athlete. I think you kind of can see that in the wrestling. Like he has a few things where I'm like, okay, he's pretty solid. But other than that, and maybe because of that, because he's not the most interesting in general, they've decided to the only way we can make him interesting is just by giving him every gimmick we can think of. So I don't know. I don't know if they need to go the supernatural route with him. I don't know. I don't really find him that funny. So maybe you go away from the comedy stuff and make him more serious, kind of like a Tony D. And maybe we'll find something for him. But I don't know, man. I have no clue really what to make of him. And as far as Tristan Angels go, I think we can make better use of his time. To be honest, hopefully they give him a little bit of something else to do. But I don't think this was about him. If you really look at how the match is put together, they really did a lot of. They spent most of their time really putting over Shiloh in this. So we'll have to see what they think of Tristan Angels maybe in his next feud. Even though I did find it hilarious that Wade Barrett said he was standing up for attention for Tristan Angels. So someone else thinks he's gorgeous, James.
It's good, isn't it? The other thing that's hilarious as well is Baron Corbin is back in WWE and they will meet at the Performance Center. So, he'd be like, "Dad, is that you?" So, but yeah, again, this was just kind of filler, wasn't it? What would you score out of five?
I'll give it three and I'll give it 3.5 just because I don't think I ever seen a live recording it wasn't live recording, but I've never seen uh, under the ring segment mid match. So
Hmm.
I'll give him that.
All right, I'm going to give it 3.25. Predictions: Monty went Angels. The rest went for Hills. Charlotte Hill. So Monty's on two. The rest are on three. And Natalia's building a group. She says Jada needs to grow a pair. Does she? Oh, I don't know. Women's Speed Championship: Ren Sinclair versus Ariana Grace. Grace brought the speed early against Sinclair, trying to find a way to wear the champion down, who kept rebounding. Vic Joseph sold that the champion was without support, while Grace had all the birthright behind her, which you would know would end badly. Charlie Dempsey jumped on the apron and took a forearm shot for his trouble. Grace used distraction for a small package near full, but Sinclair responded by spinning Grace and locked in a final wrench for the submission with 15 seconds on the clock. Again, can we have 10 minutes if they're going to do this on a PLE. Do you know? What I mean, what's the difference? You know. But I thought Grace looked quite good as well.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of the first time I watched Ariana wrestle where she didn't seem, like you said, just so green to where she don't even need to be there. Like I thought maybe the impact stuff really helped her, improve a little bit. I even though I will say because I'm not really into the speed format at all. I really just found myself, looking at. I said, "Yo, Charlie Dempsey got a nice beard now." But poor man, poor Charlie. Like, every time I see him, even with this faction, he don't. Even when it comes to Finley's son, I don't think Charlie fits with these guys. Like, I don't know
He's
why.
not trying. He's just given
Yeah,
up. He's
yeah,
dejected.
I
He's
agree. He don't seem like he's invested at all, to be honest, in what they have, and I don't really blame him because he's been in NXT pretty much like we talked about since the end of NXT UK, and they have not seemingly ever like really put any effort into actually, giving him anything interesting to work with. So it'd be hard to kind of just see him over there because I feel like he has so much potential, but. Again, it's hard to watch at this point because he feels like you said, he doesn't care and it's just kind of wasting away. But again, Ren and Ariana both, in my opinion, looked okay, and it's about as okay as you can look in this format. I agree with you. Even if you only do it for the title match and you keep your tournament short timed, at least like add something more to it so we can actually tell an adequate story because it's hard to get invested in matches like this that we all know how most of them end to where they just kind of have to sprint for that last minute to get to the finish.
yeah. But still, I didn't mind the match. What would you give it out of five?
Yeah, I give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a four. Predictions who went Grace apart from Gina, who went Sinclair. So Gina's on four, Jackson James on three, Monty's on two. Mr. Stone continued to hand out title opportunities in his office, advising EK possibly to face El Hero del Vikingo for the Latin American Championship. Tony D. Lola, Tatum Paxton, Hank and Tank talked up America's 250th birthday. And then we got Dion Lennox versus Sakon Sugars. Sugars went right after Lennox to start the match, not even removed his jacket until he tossed it in Lennox's face. But Dion found a weakness in Sugars attacking the same back that got powerbombed last month through the announce table. Sugars started to fight back, hitting a rude awakening before Osiris Griffin and Cutler James arrived ahead of the break. Lennox cut Sugars off the ropes with a spine buster for the first near fall of the match, but Sugars fought back with a flurry offense that ended with a flatliner for a near fall. He followed up with a springboard leg drop. Lennox responded with a backbreaker on the top rope into a side slam. He tried to end it unsuccessfully with a strong clothesline. Sugars lost the next on the razor's edge setup, but managed to hit reverse frog splash for the victory. Right after the win, Griffin and James attacked, laying out Sugars and finished the job with a baseball bat swing to the stomach. I've got no thoughts on this match, Monty. Got nothing written down.
Yeah, I don't want to say I was disappointed because my expectations weren't that high, but yeah, it didn't. It was like it wasn't necessary in my opinion, like Zarya's match and where everything went right. This was just it felt a little clunky and it never really kind of got into a rhythm in my opinion. And you know, yeah, I just the finish didn't work out to where I think the way Saquon wanted it to go. But again. We'll have to see. We have to see what is going because obviously it's still going, and maybe it'll work out in the blow off. Even though I didn't necessarily want this to keep going that long, but it was what it was. I didn't think it was not like anything offensive, but at the same time, I would be lying if I told you I was that interested. It's just another PLE or another situation where I felt like again, this is what I meant earlier when I said even with the way this card was put together, it just felt like we got three straight TV matches, and like this one was, I don't want to say it's less interesting than the Shiloh Hill match, but at least like I said, that one had something that I don't think I've ever really seen. This one was just, not that interesting, and then we got to the finish that was clunky, and then we confirmed that the Dark State is just going to continue this feud. And I don't necessarily think I'm that interested in us continuing it. But So it was fine. It's the best way to kind of describe it to me.
I've got no idea. So you have obviously, Griffin and Cutler James. They get annoyed with Dion Lennox. They attack him. All right, they take him out of dark states. So then Lennox has to team again with Sugars to take them on. But then Griffin gets annoyed with Cutler, so then he takes him out, and then Cutler joins them. And then, oh, hang on a minute, that's just dark state again, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know, man. What would you give it out of five?
A three.
I'll give it a three as well. You know me with NXT. If it's good, I like talking about it. If it's not, we will just move on. Prediction: Went Sugars, apart from Gina. So Monty's on three. The rest are on four. Tatum Paxley questions what she could do next in NXT. While Kalani Jordan interrupted to mock Paxley, the call started a brawl. And then the North American Championship, Miles Bourne versus Tavian Heights. And Bourne and Heights vessel clean to start until Heights and Bourne accidentally collided headfirst, causing a brief stop as referee checked on both men. After the check, they started working more chippy, grappling and jaw-jacking into the break. Heights threw the first punch of the match and questioned if he was going too far, allowing Bourne to recover and fight back. The two kept ramping up the impactful offense, a release German suplex on the floor and a frog splash in the ring nearly took the victory. As Heights propped Bourne up on his shoulders, the champion reversed into a Bourne again for the victory. Bourne was then interviewed. He said he was uncomfortable, but he's been pushed to be a better champion. After all the build-up, I mean, this was all right.
Yeah, thought it was pretty good. This is another one of those matches where, uh, again, they built it properly. I think this was actually one of the things that I would have kept if I was like if I really wanted to make this a PLE. The first two matches were good and they had the stakes. You can cut out that middle fat, and then we get to this, and then obviously what we're gonna have after this. But I thought this was really good. It was solid. It wasn't. I don't want to act like it was like you said the spectacular. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I do think it was a nice clear direction. I also do think that they did tease a lot more of. They're starting to tease a little bit of that attitude in Tavion, but they didn't really want to pull the trigger here. And I do like Miles, and I definitely like these two when they were together. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know exactly. Uh, what to kind of think of this feud overall. And, maybe it's more to come, maybe it's not. But I do think they wrestled well, and I thought this was at least solid. And although I'm not the biggest fan of Miles Bourne's finisher, because I'm not even really the biggest fan of the zigzag, to be example, I wasn't really the biggest fan of that either. So, I mean, at least when Dolph did it, I thought he kind of like he jumped high because he was kind of usually doing it from like a he was a lot smaller than a lot of the guys he used to fight, so maybe it looked better when Dolph did it. And I think Miles kind of got the opposite problem because he's a lot bigger a
Mm.
lot of the time. So maybe that's why I don't look the same to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but again, I thought this was okay. It could have been better, sure, but I do think it was at least a pretty solid title match. And they told I like the story they were trying to tell too.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing because we got the respect afterwards as well, and we've wondered what's next for Miles and Tavian Heights. Let's hope it's separate because again, if it goes down the same trope as we know with NXT, it will be Heights turning on Bourne to eventually,
Yep.
get the championship, and because there's no Hill man. Thank fuck Don Callis is not around. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, like, the
That might
amount
be who
of
they need. That might
yeah.
be who they need. We
Get
don't really
Nico
have any great
Vancing,
male
get
heels.
but even Robert Stone's a general manager now, so I hope that. But again, I see what they're trying in this matchup, and yeah, I thought for the majority it was all right. What would you give it out of five?
Uh, 3 3/4 also.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a four. Predictions: Who went Born apart from Gina? Gina's thrown it all away. Gina, what the fuck are you doing,
Dang.
eh? Oh my word! I was so panicked when I was looking at the video. I thought, how the hell can the non-XC experts? But anyway, at the moment, Monty and Gina on four, James and Jax on five. NXT revealed the next PLE would be Heatwave in Houston, Texas, along AAA action. Of course, it is the same day as All In. It's like that's August 30th, and it's like, okay, there's another weekend that's going to take me a month to catch up on, you know? Just,
They really hate us, man. They really hate us.
I just, I don't know why they do it. Before the main event, NXT went back to Tailgate, where Hank and Tank's fun was interrupted by Keanu Carver, who did not appreciate the jokes about his loss to EK Prosper. He sent Hank through a table. All right. And then the main event was the NXT Women's Championship, Lola Vice versus Kendall Gray. Gray tried from the start to get a hold of Vice and ground her, but Vice used the ropes to keep her footing and hit with a series of strong strikes. The challenger attempted to challenge the strikes of Vice with her own body shots, but Vice quickly fought her off. Carly Jordan tried to get involved, but Ren Sinclair brought her to the back. That distraction allowed Vice to knock Gray off the apron with a spin kick into a break. Gray fought back out of the break, throwing around Vice until she could lock in the ankle lock on the outside, followed by the chase of Gray on the floor. Back in, Gray locked in an ankle lock that Vice reversed into her own. Gray turned into an armbar, and Vice again turned that into her own armbar. She then transitioned into a rear naked choke, which Gray turned into her own choke. The two went to the ropes where the challenger missed a moonsault and ran into a spin kick. Vice caught Gray with a spinning back fist into the ropes. Gray bounced back into a back elbow into a double pin with simultaneous kickouts, but Gray managed to duck another spinning back fist into a corner springboard. Shades of Gray for the victory. And again, a very, very well wrestled match. What can be said?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I do think both ladies look spectacular. Meanwhile, while Kendall Gray has been getting a lot of the or a lot of the buzz from a lot of the people, and I'm not saying she don't deserve, but I think Lola Vice, although I don't think her reign was everything I wanted it to be, because I don't know, I just thought she could do more. I don't know, maybe we could talk about that, but again, at the same time, I didn't think she did anything wrong either. Maybe her workload with that in AAA was getting too much. I'd rather her lose the AAA belt instead of this one first. But it is what it is. I thought this was great. Another great. They have great chemistry together. I think we've kind of established that Lola and at this point Lola and Kendall have really good chemistry. I thought they worked great, and even though I didn't too much care for like the interference, I think that's probably the difference between that and this and the Paxley match is I thought the Paxton match was just like two champion level talent just going out there and like giving it they all, and Zarya was just too much. But when it comes to this main event here, although I thought it was great, and I don't think the interference played a huge part in it. Don't get me wrong, like you said, we still had great moments after that and great drama, but. The finish still did even though she hit Shades of Grey, it definitely hit. It definitely came out kind of abruptly to me, and it was another reason why, although I thought this was a great main event, it still felt like this was a great TV special instead of
Mm.
feeling like a PLE. And I don't think you want to come away from it, even when we crown a new women's champion. And they did deserve the headline, and I thought they lived up to that. I thought they wrestled well enough to be the main event. So don't get me wrong when I say that this overall still felt like a TV special. But again, I thought this was a really, really good match. Strong. They had great ground wrestling. Even the striking got good. I thought they did a good job of leaning to both their backgrounds. But again, like I mentioned, they kind of already we kind of already established that they have a great chemistry. So it left me thinking that once Kendall Gray got her moment and win, like I said, I don't mind her getting it. I think though, if you've been paying attention, backstage was looking for this. They've been looking for a reason kind of to just crown Kendall. So I don't have a problem with her getting it because I see the talent, but I've also heard opinions about Kendall Gray, like somebody about like people phrasing about her being one of the best to ever do it already, or already top two behind Io Sky as far as wrestling quality, and I'm just like, wow, you guys really like her. Like
we just
again, I don't hate her. I like her too. I think she's great. I see the talent. I think she's awesome. But
but
again, like I mentioned,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead. No,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no. But again, not to be, but it's like the Great White Hope, isn't it? Like I
Right,
always remember that story, and it just seems the same where they're like, "Oh, look, it's American, she's white," posting. I'm not
right.
saying that's the case, but it just feels, like,
It is hard to ignore that, like how fast she's been crowned without really doing anything. Like I mentioned earlier, she doesn't even have a storyline for me to highlight what her character is or who her character is. Her character right now is I'm just a good wrestler, and there's other good wrestlers that you guys call bland for that being the
yeah.
character or that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't like just good wrestlers a lot of the time. So what makes her unique and different in that situation? Do I think she's great or flashed potential greatness? Yes. But we also just had Stephanie Valkyr and like Jordan Grace and other great wrestlers literally in this same women's division who, in the Soul Rukas of the world. Like we've been spoiled in this women's division.
Mm.
You already are trying to push her to EO Sky levels, which is just insanity to me. But
Uh,
whatever. That's beside the fact. Look, I can make an argument EO Sky is the best wrestler in the world. So again, that's another reason why I'm just like, please stop all of this and give the lady time to just develop and be and become something unique. Do I think she's really good? Do I think she deserves this? Sure. But I also think Lola Vice, in my opinion, does not get enough credit for also being really good in these matches with her too. And Lola Vice, if the main roster is calling, again, she's another one where I'm like, I don't know if I want to rush it because I don't like how they're booking the main roster all the time. At this point. But at the same time, it's like, what else is there for Lola to do? It does lead me to wonder for what's next when it comes to her. But again,
mm.
great moment for Kim Gray. I thought the match was really good. I give it probably four and a half. But I thought Zarya and Tatum's match was better personally.
Yeah, without a doubt. They were talking about how these are the two biggest crossover athletes, apparently. The crowd actually favoured Gray. And as I said, as for the match, everything had a reason. And the women proved they deserve not only to be in the main event, but to keep the main event. Gray hugged
Mm-hmm.
her family in the crowd before and after, of course, gear inspired by Kurt Angle. Vice also found her family in the audience. There's something about Lola I really like as well. And she reminds me a little bit of Mercedes Moné in this way. Lola looks like she's in a fight. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean? Like she's not there to look pretty. Like when she's like getting punched in the face, or the her anger and the stuff. It looks like she's going through it. It's not easy.
right,
And again, I think Lola does. Yeah, I think we forget how good she was in this matchup.
right.
And yeah, this match flew by. I'm not going to lie. I gave this 4 3/4 out of 5 because, like I said, it was really, really good. But just that Zarya match was just maybe it's just because I like Zarya and Tate Paxi a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's me
That's
being
true too.
biased or whatever it is, but yeah,
Yeah,
like you said, if you can't put Gray's promo, and be like, oh, okay, that character's properly developed, and again,
yeah.
um,
Like she has
anyway.
room to grow, and I don't think it's wrong to admit that. Like, do I think she's flashed greatness, and like, do I think she has a great technical wrestling feel for it? Yes, she's shown that already, and I'm not mad at her being world champion. I don't mind it. It's just still, like you mentioned, it's other women that's on this roster that I can argue I've watched develop as a character and showcase specialty in the ring, and it's just like give Kim a great time to also do that because, like I said, she hasn't even been around long enough. Like if I don't know if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but like this is probably her second storyline in NXT in
Mm.
general. Like literally, like her first storyline is battling to be number one contender, and the second storyline at this point, if not second or third, is now the stuff with Lola. She hasn't had enough time to even really show you if she can carry a storyline and do that. But we'll see going forward because she's not gonna have a choice as world champion.
Yeah, without doubt. Prediction wise, we went great apart from Monty, who went for Vice. So Monty finishes on 4, Gina on 5, and Jaxie and James with the win on 6. Fuck you, Jaxie, all right? How the hell can I get away? So bonus at the moment, I'm level with Monty on 13, Gina's on 12, Jaxie on 11. So that is close.
Mm-hmm.
Overall for Great American Bash, I think, yeah, we can agree Zarya versus, doing it again. That is Zarya. Yeah, I'm doing it about Zarya. Tatum is our match. I get too excited sometimes. So I need your rating out of 10 and your MVP.
Um, I guess on shows like this, I give it like a 7 and a quarter, and the quarter is probably purely because I really love the Tatum Zarya match. And I don't get me wrong, the main event was really good too. Like I said, I think 4 out of the 7 matches, like if this was a 4 match card, this might be one of the strongest little takeovers of PLEs, man. Maybe even a 5 one, but because I didn't think I forgot what match it was. I didn't think it was horrible. I just didn't know if it necessarily needed to be here. But
Mm.
we did have a portion of the show that felt like TV, and like you mentioned, now I know that it was a PLE, but they had ads streaming through it, and even the main event, in my opinion, they just lucky Lola and Kendall are really good because even the main event was fucking bogged down by ads, you know. So it's very very weird to look at a PLE and knowing that we're gonna get promo, ads all through it. I hope they don't continue to do this, but hey, who knows? At this point, who knows? But yeah, I thought at the end of the day, it was ended up being a really good PLE, but in my opinion, it ventured way too much on just being a regular episode of NXT with Great American Bash plastered everywhere, you know?
Yeah. And who's your MVP, sorry?
Oh, I don't think I've ever given the MVP to Zarya, so I'm just gonna give it to Zarya.
Yeah, Zaria. I'm going to give mine to Gray because I gave obviously Zaria the match and rating 8. Yeah, I mean, it was one great match. And I think, yeah, it will just get forgotten about in a few weeks' time. We've still got 3 NXTs to go, so we're going to jump right on it. June 30th, NXT. We've got a recap of the Great American Bash. And then Kendall Gray made her way to celebrate becoming the women's champion. She spoke about being more nervous to speak to the crowd and then to wrestle in a title match. She also says she grew up not knowing how to handle losing. So every time it happened to her, it made her doubt herself in NXT. Then Sinclair came out to with a cake to help her celebrate. Kalani Jordan showed up and says she deserves a shot at the title, but Tatum Paxley arrived from the crowd to attack her while Gray and Sinclair ate cake in the ring. Um, well, thoughts on this? Gray nearly fell on the stairs in her entrance. Wouldn't that have been a fucking awful way to, celebrate your victory? But I mean, let them eat cake, you know?
Yeah, congratulations. That's literally what I wrote. It's like congratulations. That's the big takeaway from this. You know, congratulations. You know, they both champion of the two woman faction or whatever. It's literally one of the most successful, and if you count Miles Bourne, one of the most successful factions that you can have. So it's
Uh-huh.
been, who knew? Who knew? Who knew?
See? And another big good news, Booker T is back. Yeah, Booker's back, man. That's good. I mean, people are allowed holiday, but they should really let us know. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. We got Zaria, Lizzie Rain, and Izzy Dame. Had a funny backstage segment before this matchup. Real life brothers Galeno and El Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr. made a trip from AAA to NXT to challenge Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes for the tag titles. The champions were giving up a lot of size and experience to the challengers, so Wagner and Galeno looked pretty dominant early on. To be fair, it looked like men against boys, but the champions made it more competitive during and after the break. Two-thirds of Vanity Project picked up the win after some shenanigans. The other third, or fourth, if we count Myla, was Jackson Drake, who faced Mason Rook. The weirdest moment came when Booker T seemingly accepted a video call from Cam Hendricks, which somehow tied into the production truck and the broadcast on the screen. I don't know how that worked, but Rook successfully fought off Bader and Smokes, but distraction gave Drake the chance to hit the backstabber for the win, with Myla Lockwood's holding Rook's feet to prevent him from kicking out. I say this is a bit of an upset, but it does annoy me because, like Mason Rook, and you mentioned earlier with a couple of wrestlers, they seem to drop him out early and then rebuild them in their own way. Do you know what I mean? It seems really
Yeah.
fucking odd.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw it with Jordan Grace. We've seen it with just like a number of talent to where it's just like seems like, especially if they come in hot. I think that's kind of what's so surprising about Kendall Gray's rise, because they kind of protected her a little bit. You know, I think she definitely lost, but she would lose to people you would expect her to lose to. And then like with Mason Rookie come in and he looks like he's the number one contender easily, and then now we've kind of cooled him off properly. And now, like you said, we're gonna, now we're on the rebuild, and let's involve him with something that may feel a little bit beneath him right now, but it don't look beneath him if he's losing. I don't know. I think again, this is all fine. I don't mind the Vanity Project as much as I probably did when I first seen them, because I'm just trying to give them, like I said earlier, I love to give these kids, especially when I'm watching NXT, I try to give it time. And some, because I've seen so many different types of call ups and different types of developments. Like I always look back to when I seen Kiana James do a couple of impressive things, and it felt like 3 weeks later she was getting drafted. And so I'm just like I try to give them time because for me personally, 'cause maybe they'll grow on me, maybe they'll turn into something. But then sometimes if you give them a little too long, before you know it, WWE is telling you they're ready, even though I don't think they've showed us that they're ready. So you never really know. But again, I don't mind it, but I'm not going to act like any of this was the most, cool thing. I do think the tag match was solid, and I don't think this match was bad, or at least the narrative in this match was bad either. But yeah, it's very interesting that Mason Rook seemed to be the latest victim of the, come in like a bat out of hell, but we have to, rebuild you instead of allowing you to just, be dominant.
Yeah, no, it's really, really weird. Kiana Carver versus EK Prosper. Tank showed up and sent him into a barricade to get revenge for what Carver did to Hank at the Great American Bash. Prosper took advantage and hit a huge moonsault for the win. Natalia was granted a title match against Gray for next week during a backstage segment. Then we had Jada Parker versus Carmen Petrovic. Remember her? She was flanked by Natty in the new stable, so Parker was already at a disadvantage. They had some clunky moments, and Natty's attack on Parker in the middle of the match seemed to fire her up, having the opposite effect to what Natty intended. Miss Parker scored a victory, and it's clear with her feud with Natty is not over. Tony D spoke about having one eye. He signed waivers to be able to compete, don't you know? He's done with Naraku now, and his eye's going to make a full recovery. Yes. And he has a message for the NXT challenger. He is the master of his fate and the captain of his soul. And you've seen what he do to defend the title, so what will you do to take it from him? One thing, Monty, in this one is Tony addressed himself as Tony D. I'm pretty sure, I swear, we started the whole Tony D thing. You know, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, we definitely deserve some credit because I agree. I don't remember people calling Tony D before us. Like, maybe he been saying it backstage. The unfortunate thing is when you're doing stuff like that, you're like, oh yeah, I've been Tony D from the beginning, and no one can question.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, no. For at least I will tell. This is what I'm telling myself. We're followed by John Cena. So of course Tony
Yeah.
D heard the show and said, "You know what? I like that. I'm gonna call myself Tony D on TV," and that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened, boys and girls. Kendall Gray made her entrance and they fist bump on the rank, but then Tony stumbles back out with Naraku following behind him, beating him with a steel chair. He throws the chair and the champion in the ring and hits her into the abyss onto the chair. Referee swarm. Tony, his bandage having fallen off and revealing his bloodied face, or what we thought as we went to a break. As we came back, we saw bonus footage of an attack. Not rare did we see bonus footage of attacking, but still, Naraku spitting poison mist into Tony's face before taking him back
Yay,
out
trope
of the
two.
ramp. What else is there? So he's got you salt in a match coming up as well, isn't he? Like that's a free, isn't it? I think that's a free.
For sure. He definitely had to do a shining wizard, like whatever job it is. Let's just keep coming up with with tropes for him to do at this point. Uh, this was very very NXT, but also very very fun for me to watch. Not only for him, and then it did start a debate from the few New Japan fans who watch NXT, who and some of them are not New Japan, but why WWE why you gotta do the mist? I can confirm he did use the mist before in New Japan. It's not unnew for him to use the mist. But I do agree with a lot of the people. They're not wrong. For some reason, if you go to but it's like I mentioned, this is an American wrestling trope at this point. If you are a heel and you just so happen to be Japanese, you might have to spit some mist. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying they're not doing it on purpose. Sure they are. Sure, Shawn Michaels or whoever may not know exactly what to do, and they're just like, hey, let's just go with what we know. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I got a kick out of it. I enjoyed it. And I also love the fact that Tony D can also another trope that I don't know people pay attention to, but the babyface champion says he's done with heel. Easy way to make babyface champion not done with heel, attack right after that. I love it.
Do you know what? Tony's not had a good update. I'm not going to lie. Being burned, being
It's
misted. It's not. I'm
been
sorry,
rough.
Tone. Yes, it
It's been
has.
rough.
But yeah, classic NXT. And then again, all the British and English wrestlers have to drink tea and talk about football at one point. So again, It's the same thing. Main event: Tatum Paxley versus Kalani. Jordan Gray was sitting on commentary, and right as the show was about to go to break, she was attacked, which distracted Tatum long enough for Kalani to regain control. Jordan hit a signature split-legged moonsault for the win. As Paxley was recovering in the ring, Nikki Blackheart attacked her to make her official debut, but WWE never used her name, so we still don't know what she will be called yet. Apparently, Gangrel trained her, and she's been wrestling 2 years. Well, she looked like she nearly blew her knee out when she started off, which again a bit auspicious, but it's a story. And like I said, this is kind of Tatum's goodbyes now, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it seems like that's where we're heading. Like I said, I really hope if she does, if it is over for Tatum, that they and it feels like this is a great setup for that. That they really know what to do with her on the next level because she deserves, in my opinion, legitimate push, legitimate stories to tell. Like, not, I don't think she deserves to be either in catering or just, you know, just there. So hopefully, if this is the end and she's debuting sooner than later, that they actually utilize her because she has so much talent and I think she can be so special. As far as Nikki Blackheart goes, this is I'm gonna be honest with you guys. What I knew her for had nothing really to do with her wrestling. It was just more so about like the photos she would post, and like she kind of went viral for just looking great. Then I see her debut, and not only did you point out accurately that it looked like she could have hurt herself. She appears, this happens from time to time. This is why I say the internet is very funny, because like you're just taking a photo, you can hide certain things. And I just did not know that she was as short as she was. She appeared a lot bigger in those photos. Again, don't really matter a lot of times in women. I mean, come on, Io Sky's got to be like 5'3", 5'4", so it don't really matter that much. You got like people like Alexa Bliss, so I'm not saying it matters. I'm just saying that it shocked me, but hey, we'll see what happens with her. I think again she has a fan base already. Well, even if it's from like her looks. Gangrel has trained others, so we'll see. We'll see. Maybe the foundations is there for something good, and I do think if you're gonna debut, the NXT Women's Division has a pretty good track record at this point.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, and I think her along with Lizzie Rain as well. I think the last couple of are going to be building blocks in the future. But speaking of nearly blowing out your knee, we didn't get the Elvin Kingo match because as he made it for Orlando for the Tuesday double taking, he
Yeah,
was injured. And thus decided to hold off on the match. He was evaluated. I don't know why I'm laughing because he underwent ACL surgery and will be out for 9 fucking months. That's
yeah.
what you get for a throwaway match on NXT. You know, like my God.
God damn, man. That's just unfortunate. Look, bro. That's just the worst possible look right there.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, because I was like, where is he? And like, oh, shit, yeah. Anyway, July 7th, to start us off, Callie Armstrong explained it was her only way of getting attention and making a name for herself in the NXT women's division. She doesn't want to complain about getting overlooked for opportunities, she says, and puts the entire division on notice. This brought out the now former NXT women's champion, Lola Vice, who calls Armstrong impatient for making it clear she wants the belt back. Kalani Jordan also emerged to let both Armstrong and Vice know neither of them deserve a shot, and she'll be next in line following her win over Tatum Paxley. Chaos ensued, and Armstrong stood tall. We do see this segment every update. I think we might have even seen it twice now, and it's just like, these are the contenders. Let them talk and let them brawl a little bit, and, it's what it is, what it is.
I would blame them, but since I know they're only getting trained for the main roster, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they got to be well versed in opening show pro that turns into brawls or tag team matches. So I guess I can't be surprised.
Yeah, I remember when like opening segments used to lead somewhere, but maybe I'm a dreamer here.
Yeah, come on
Um,
now. It's WWE.
we got the NXT Tag Team Championship number one contenders fatal four-way tag team match. We got OTM, Dark State with Griffin and James, Birthrights, Stacks and Connors, and Legacy and DVD. Standard fatal four-way tag teams. OTM dominated prior to the break, and DVD impressed whenever he was on the offensive. After Bronco Nima went on a tear, Birthright nearly clinched the victory with an awesome looking neckbreaker powerbomb. But Legacy, DVD, Connors, and Griffin took turns going high risk, wiping out the field at the outside. Distraction from Sugars was enough to distract Dark State, and then Legacy and DVD, the surprising win once Birthright and OTM brawled to the back. Dar and the Spanish fellow weren't allowed in this match as they are shit. That's what I took away from it all.
Yeah. 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 This is our tag team division, NXT guys. Like, this is what we have to offer. This is what we have to offer right now. Nice to see Stacks have went nowhere, and Tony D is on top of the world. Uh, but yeah. Again, this was okay. I don't mind Dorian Van Du, even though I don't really like his name that much. Or again, he baffles me because he's so muscly and he does flippy stuff. And the same thing, at least with Sean Legacy, I remember he was a little smaller before he got injured, and then he came back a little bit more muscly, and he also does flippy stuff. So not mad that they won. I don't hate them. I'm not acting like they're not impressive in a sense, but again, I think honestly we need tag teams. So if they're gonna bring a level of, they're going to bring a level of excitement to the division. I think that at this point we know Hang and Tank are just not important. They're jokes. OTM, although I think they've improved, are not really, a focus. And Dark State or Dark State. So, and Birthright, I don't really know what to tell you about them either. They got Stacks in it. So,
Yeah.
like literally, we got a group with Stacks in it.
But
So still, so
even
what
looking
must I tell you?
even looking at the group, I'm going, well, Cyrus is probably the only one I would keep. Maybe Connors, but he needs to kind of bulk up a little bit.
Right,
I've kind of turned into Jim Ross now, like just watching the tag out. Hey, kid, working you upper body. Do you know what I mean?
right.
I mean, I'm meant to be enthralled with the tag division, but you know.
No, it's
Uh,
true. It's true. It's true. So if you really look at it, the guy who upper body looks nice is one. I'll say, well, OTM is there. OTM got potential, but yeah.
yeah, but you know what? They've been around for. We're going to look, and they're going to be around for like 7.5 years in NXT soon. Do you know what I mean? We'll be like, what? What the fuck have they done?
That's a great
Like,
point.
yeah. So,
Great point.
Kiana Carver defeated Tank Ledger, and then the NXT Women's North American Championship number one contender fatal four-way match. Lizzie Rain, Izzy Dame, because obviously when they came up with Izzy Dame's name, they didn't realise they were going to have a Lizzie Rain, but still. Fit Hale and Layla Diggs. Some highlights included Hale leaping off the top rope to the outside, Hale and Diggs simultaneously hitting splashes in the middle of the ring, and Rain connected with a double cutter. Diggs did stand out, and she's the freshest face of the four, so it was a surprise when she got the win. But this was, again, all sorts of fun, and it's the women's division doing it. And I know we keep saying it, but they do keep delivering.
Yeah. Word for word, the women's division in NXT just continues to deliver, man. And they even when they introduce new faces, the new faces usually have something attached to them, like a Lizzie Rain or like you mentioned with Layla Diggs' athleticism and like what she kind of has brought to the table so far. To the point they actually have such a great turnover with their fresh faces to where I believe that's part of the reason why I don't know how we went from Thea Hale feeling like a star of the future to where she could be yeah, uh, uh, cut or just NXT veteran before you know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she is an NXT veteran now that I think about it already, but still, like, I just every time I watch Thea Hill just go out there and just be there and not really shine, it really baffles me also because that's someone that I you know saw potential in, but obviously she's regressed or they're not as impressed as I am or something is going on when it comes to Thea Hill. But Layla Diggs, I get it. The athleticism is there. Like you said, fresh face. Unfortunately, she's about to probably gonna have to run into Zarya the way it's looking. So we'll see. We'll see how good that face looks after that matchup. But again, uh, I just think right now the NXT Women's Division is just on a roll, whether it's new faces or not.
Yeah, without a doubt. Tavian Heights was out of the ring to call out Miles Bourne and apologise for him not acting like a brother after failing to beat him for the NXT North American Championship at the Great American Bash. Instead, he got the Vanity Project, who blamed him for costing Jackson Drake a recent win. Drake told Heights he would have gotten the job done against Bourne had it been for him there and not Heights. As you expect, Vanity Project started beating down on Heights before Bourne made the save. I maybe thought this was where Heights might finally turn on Bourne, but they stood tall to close out the segment. And Charlotte Hill is riding away with momentum, coming off a big win over Tristan Angels at the Great American Bash. And that appeared to be the payoff of the program, or so it seemed. They had a bit of a competitive contest in the time allotted. Hill had the upper hand until Angel showed up at ringside to ensure Nico Vance emerged victorious. Nico Vance won the match, and I didn't even mention him at the start. Post match, Sean Spear laid out Vance with a chair. Is the chairman coming back? Will we get the perfect 10? Do we really care? But
Who
again,
cares?
Hill's an interest because, yeah, you would think, oh, they're building up Charlotte Hill now. And again, he loses. And it's just like, to Nico Vance.
Yeah,
Like, what?
exactly. Why? The nigga man. It's like, wow. So you mean tell me what? So Tristan Angels put him over for what?
I just.
Okay.
I'm like,
Okay, and they seriously think someone cares about Sean Spears as a babyface, or I guess I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I popped for
makes
seeing
a lot
Ty
of sense.
Dillinger for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hear the perfect 10, I'll be like, oh, Ty Dillinger. And then that will be it. Like, a bit like Matt
Yeah,
Cardona showing up and going, that's Matt Cardona. And then that's
hey,
that.
yeah, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, main event was Kendall Grave versus Natty for the NXT Women's Championship. This had a ton of submissions and smooth transitions, two things both women are exceptionally skilled at. Natty had Nikita Lyons and Carmen Petrovic in the corner, but they were thwarted by Ren Sinclair and Lola Vice before the commercial break. How many times have women came out to take other women away from ringside in this update? It's crazy. That meant it was all about Gray and Natty in the second half. Culminated in an abrupt shades of grey to put Natty away after Gray had escaped the sharp shooter. Again, this wasn't bad, you know?
Yeah, a really good technical match, man. I think Natty's track record when it comes to NXT is probably a lot better than you people will ever give her credit for. I mean, just all the way back to like the Charlotte matches and stuff like that. When Natty returns and she wrestles someone, she usually puts on a pretty good match. And I think again, this is not only a sign that management really likes Kendall Gray and they trust her in the ring with a veteran like Natty, but also just again another showcase of just how great Natty is. It was a great student versus teacher feeling type of technical showcase too. And again, the champion looked good too, and I don't think you can have a problem with the way everything turned out. I do think personally, although I do think not only is the spot just overdone, but you know, I, I would it would have been cool to me if Lola Vice didn't have anything to do with it. Again, Ren, I've seen Ren do it. She did it to Toxic, a Fatal Influence when it was just Ren. She took two girls out before. So that's how done this trope is. We've seen Ren literally do it by herself before.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. All right, on to the last NXT, July 14th. We start with the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Vanity Project versus Sean Legacy and DVD. Legacy came close to stealing the win for his team at one point, only for Brad Baylor to break up the pinfall. Before the Babyface could do more damage, Vanity Project insurance policy, Micah Lockwood took out Van the Ducks at ringside and paved way for Baylor and Ricky Smokes to hold on to the gold. I got to say, I'm a fan of Lockwood, and I do remember tag wrestling. Just a little bit. I mean, this I don't know if this was it, but I do remember it used to be a part of NXT.
You sure? You sure? Like, I mean, I could. You know what? Though? Yeah, I mean, Fraction didn't just come out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they must have faced someone. Do you
They
know
had to
what I mean?
fight
They
some.
must have
Yeah,
had.
right. They couldn't have. That's a great point. They had to do it somewhere. That's a good.
They were
But
allowed
they
on
did
PLE at some point, weren't they? Like,
right.
you know,
And they fought. They had to fight two other people. They weren't just handicap matches. So that's true. And we also had women's NXT tag titles too. So I mean,
uh,
tag wrestling had to exist
mm.
at some point. But yeah, this was again. Uh, I almost was disappointed because I actually wanted the new guys to win just to give us something, new. But I didn't think this match was bad. I thought it was pretty cool. But honestly, if this is the best that we got to offer right now in tag division, I think I'm fine on the tag division. To be honest, I'm not saying this was bad. It was all right, but I just think that, like you said, for a second there, it made you feel like, what? But I still know that we need more than two teams because we've been here before already. We need more than two quality teams, but you know what? You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that is true. Tristan Angels took aim at Charlotte Hill for not only beating him at the Great American Bash, he proceeded to pull out Hill's fake tooth and smash it on the steps. Hill interrupted from the big screen, telling Angels that the fake tooth may have helped his smile, but losing it helped his mind. Hill laughed maniacally and warned Angels by saying, "The fog is coming," as fog
Oh,
flooded
God.
the. Not the fog. Do you know the fog? The fog.
Mm.
Yeah.
Joe Gacy, Wyatt Hill. I don't know, man.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about Charlotte. 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 I don't know. But whatever. Whatever. Foggy, foggy, fog. Let's go.
well, the increasingly unlikable Tate Wilder was squashed by Naraku. Tony D emerged afterwards to attack Naraku and fight off a few security guards in chaotic fashion. And although Layla Diggs became number one contender on last week's show, an injury she suffered over the weekend at a live event led her to being pulled from the match. That will teach WWE from having live shows, hey? Robert Stone instead rewarded Rain and Dame, who were involved in the number one contendership match, along with Nikita Lyons for some reason. I don't know. Dame stood out at one point with a running drop kick to Zariah. No, I'm getting it wrong again. Zaria, who had lines on her shoulder while simultaneously hitting a running senton on Rain. While Rain and Dame brawled, Natty and Carmen Petrovich were taken out of ringside by Jada Parker, leading Zaria blasting Lyons with a spear. I mean, this was good stuff, but it felt similar to the match the previous week. Don't get me, I'll
Yeah,
take it. I'll
I
take
agree.
it. But
I agree. I do think the Layla Diggs thing threw them for a loop because it sucked. It really, really sucked because you get a big win. It's just kind of like, you finally try to, all right, let's make a push to build a star or build a new face, and then boom, unfortunate things kind of happen in that regard. But I almost would prefer that we just push the title match back a week. And then you let either three women that lost to her fight it out into a triple threat or something, or you just grow some balls and just say we're gonna do Zarya versus Lizzie or whatever, or whatever you want to do. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I would have preferred a different situation than that. But again, it is, I thought, like you said, this is okay, but I do think, like you said, it's hard to not feel like that when we just literally had a fatal four way. You can only put the thing is about fatal four ways. You can only put together a unique fatal four ways a couple of times. That's the reason why you don't necessarily get them every week. So again, uh, this is fine. Zari returns, but I also think because you just put three contenders in the ring with her, okay, so who's the contender now? No one?
yeah.
No, no, now who's left? She just kind of cleared out her contenders.
Yeah, she's kind of doing the opposite of Miles Bourne, where she has like contenders. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Overall, I'd rather be her
yeah,
than just like, oh, well, I'm a champion, but I got nobody, nobody to fight at all.
well, let's see who's going to fight Bourne because we got Jackson Drake versus Tavian Heights next, and all the Vanity Project were back out to stand in Drake's corner. Miles Bourne, despite having established alliance with Heights, didn't show up at all. That pretty much foreshadowed the finish with Vanity Project Jackson Heights from the apron to cost him the victory. I mean, that's going to piss Tavian off. I'm not going to lie.
And I think it should. Like, this would be one of them justified turns. Do you even call it a heel turn? Because we had each other's back last week, and here we are now. You don't have my back. I don't know, but yeah, this was okay though. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. Again, giving Jackson Drake time to do something, but at this point, would you be surprised if they make Jackson Drake beat Miles Bourne? I
I,
wouldn't be.
I, I wouldn't be shocked because, again, especially with the tag titles around, you always think, like Sinclair and Gray, that they like having like it all together, So
Right.
maybe, and then Mason Rook beating Drake. But again, with Drake, or most of the talent is for 50-50 booking. I think that's stopping
Yeah.
near enough everything at this moment in time. Like I said, Jackson Drake might have won, but then it will lose, and then Charlotte Hill's winning and losing to Nico Vance,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No
yeah,
one
I
really
think
has momentum. Nobody really
yeah.
has momentum right now,
And I think with
other
Vanity
than Tony.
Project, yeah, fucking Tony can destroy anybody. But yeah, I think with Vanity Project, it's one of those where when you've got like a growth on you or something like that, but it's not that serious. But you have to kind of deal with it, and then in the end, you don't mind it. Like that for me, Vanity Project is like with all the other stuff. Like yeah, they're not too. They still look like children. Don't get me wrong, but yeah,
Right.
it's still not
They're
too
young,
bad.
but it's a lot worse than what they've
Yeah,
done, or
they
it's a lot worse, or a lot less. They could be so much more boring.
Yeah, there's Tate Wilders for the world, and she, do you know what I mean, and the Sean Legacies and whatever it is. But anyway, the
Yeah.
main event for this NXT was the Women's Championship Number Contendership match: Lola Vice versus Kalani Jordan versus Kelly Armstrong. All three women were constantly in the mix, so there was never a dull moment. Jordan's double E defeat looked cool, as well as a huge splash off the top to break out the armbar Vice had locked in on Armstrong. There was a flurry of finishes in the closing moments, which led to some brief confusion over where Jordan had won or not when she rolled up Armstrong. But Vice pinned Armstrong with a back fist after clearing Jordan from the ring. And again, a really good triple threat match. And I think a little bit surprising Lola Vice won. I know that sounds fucking
Very
weird,
surprised.
but yeah.
I was so surprised. I was like, okay, so we're running it back again. Which again, don't get me wrong, they've had great at least two awesome matches. So don't get me wrong, wouldn't be mad. But I'm just like, oh, okay, why the hell can Lonnie Jordan have been like kind of shadowing this title this entire time just to like lose and not get that opportunity? Like I really was shocked that it wasn't Kalani Jordan. Uh, you know, uh, pinning Armstrong or whatever you want to do here. So yes, Lola Vice is not quite done, and it's kind of funny to me that it feels like Tatum Paxley can be on the main roster in a couple weeks, but like, no, we're still doing this Lola thing. Which again, I know that sounds like I want us to stop doing it. I'm just saying, she just lost the belt. I thought that was proof that it was time to move on. Now we're gonna put her back on the chase. Very interesting decision, but again, I love a triple threat match. I thought this was good, but yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you about that. Other than it seems like we're gonna get a rematch in Heat Wave or possibly before that. So I guess
Mm.
we'll see.
But again, maybe that's why. I mean, like I said the match was great at Great American Bash, but maybe they were holding something back. Do you know what I mean? And maybe the last
Right.
meeting will be, to go balls out, because I think sometimes that ruins a few matches as well. With feuds where it's like, oh, okay, well, we've still got,
We
to finish with a
got another
hardcore match,
story
so to
to
speak. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, yeah, stipulation match to blow it off. Yeah, that's true. I also wonder, are they willing to give Lola more of a, even though she's been a great face champion to me, are they willing to go that route and turn her heel? To
Yeah.
freshen it up. I don't know, but again, I don't think she necessarily needs it. She's been a really good face and a really good just champion and wrestler in NXT in general. So
Mm.
again, we'll have to see how that turns out. But yeah, I was definitely shocked by this result, but not mad or like again offended by it.
And then after the match, Tony D'Angelo was shown attacking Naraku in the parking lot. Robert Stone announced that their NXT Championship rematch on the next update will be a street fight. And it kind of had to be, you know what I mean? With all the
Yep.
poison mists and the eye
He burnt
burning.
his face. What else can you do? Like, you're gonna have to add a stipulation. I don't think a regular match is gonna solve this problem, boys.
Yeah, why is Tony so annoyed? That's what Robert Stone's saying. He's like, why are you so annoyed, Tony? And Tony's like, hey, man, God took my eye from my face. You know what I mean, man?
My hospital bill that they rushed me out of, I just got that in the mail, and it reminded me that this guy is costing me money.
Fucking hell. And we finish with Impact, nearly literally. There was nothing in between the NXTs we talked about. On July 16th, Thea Hale beat Harley Hudson to advance to the new Knockouts TV title tournament. And with this tournament, it means at least we're getting two knockout
Oh,
matches on Impact each week as well. So
so
yeah,
that's what Thea Hale doing. You know what? What am I thinking? I'm thinking that she's just not really developing. She's on impact. That's a great sign for her future.
well, also Wendy Chu is in it as well. But I'll let you know how she does the next update because I've not seen her in a while. When I saw Wendy Chu, I was like, has she been released? Or no, because she wouldn't be Wendy Chu, would she? So
I think
she's
she
still
just
a
was
part.
like that. That shows our blind spot because I think she just lost the Evolve belt to Nikita.
Right. What
So
happened to
yeah,
Nikita Lyons? I mean, we were going to release her a couple of months ago. Do you know what I mean?
right. Look at what Evolve does for you. You know what? I've had it all wrong. I had it all wrong. You know what? Maybe if Evolve was around when Von Wagner was there, he would still be
Oh,
on the roster.
now that is a man. That is, I can't wait for Von Wagner versus Shiloh Hill coming up with Baron Corbin as special guest referee. And uh, someone we haven't heard of in a while, not Brooks Jensen, who's disappeared, and also his
Man,
mate. What's
man,
his
Briggs.
Josh Briggs?
What
Where
the
are they
hell?
gone? Yeah.
What the hell is Josh Briggs? It's Dan Jensen. You're right. The
Yeah.
greatest NXT UK Tag Team Champions of all time.
The tag team responsible for killing NXT UK. Yeah. And who knows? We might find out the next update. But that is it for now. We'll leave it there because I'm sure with the next update we'll have more NXTs before Heatwave as well, which will be fine. So, Monty, what are your thoughts been on this NXT run that we've just had featuring the Great American Bash? It's been a bit different, I suppose.
Yeah, again, we had some title matches, some great title changes. We seen Naraku go down the Japanese wrestler trope. Who knows what's next for him in that regard? It's been interesting to say the least. Shiloh Hill has teleported and seemed to, the fog. I mean, we got so much going on in NXT. I mean, I don't see how they don't use us to build, interest and draw more viewers. You know what I mean? Because like honestly, when we talk about NXT, it feels like the most interesting thing in the world. Now, I'm not gonna act like watching it is always the most interesting time in the world, but hey, talking about it is always fun. But NXT in general, in my opinion, I do think we're still transitioning, and I think they're trying. Like, I think that's why we're getting so many new faces in the women's division because people that we like are seemingly getting closer and closer to possibly just getting plucked out of the air. And at this point, if I'm Shawn Michaels, I'm trying to build as many new faces as I can because you never know when you build up a talent good enough to where Triple H is just gonna take them. So I kind of get it, but again, our tag division is horrible. North American male division, pretty rough to watch. Our women's division is golden, but I feel like that's been the case. I don't want to say NXT is stagnant because I feel like a lot of stuff is the same. But I will say this: at least Tony D's reign has been fun to watch to an extent. I've enjoyed it, and again, the women's division is just a bright spot among bright spots. Even for the non-title feud, still at this point. So I think that's what kind of keeps me coming back. And we've been at the bottom of the bottom, and I don't think NXT is anywhere close to where it would, like the worst of it. But I also don't think that it's at the heights of NXT either. So we're in the middle right now, and I think we're going somewhere. And maybe in a couple of updates we'll be where we want to be, or we'll be continuing to chasing that feeling. Who knows? But I don't know. I had fun on this show.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's enjoyable. Yeah, whilst you talk about it, but going through it is pretty tough. But when you look back, you go, "Oh no, we did have that." The burning and the misting and hiding under ring and the fogging and the fisting. Do you know what I mean? Oh, we had fun.
Yeah.
Uh, but that is it. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Monty, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me at Mind of Monty on Twitter. So yeah.
Dublin Awesome on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at dublinrpodcast@gmail.com and YouTube podcast where we're celebrating 11 years of the Dublin R with shorts, universe mode, and clips from any event we go to. And all the podcasts, also the podcast is live on YouTube and SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode, hopefully, will be a SummerSlam live party on Saturday. But Monty, as you said, I think before we started, SummerSlam has creeped up on all of us. Is it because it's so early in August, you reckon?
I believe so. I think that has something to do with it, and I just think too, we get bombarded. It's kind of like we talked about with Great American Bash. Like all these shows happen at the same time, and then now we got the nerve where AEW will do a show 3.5 or 4 weeks later, and then it's just been rough. And also, I think some of that has to do with our overall investment in the product. I think a couple years back when we were like, whether it was with the Bloodline storyline or just overly invested in Cody's chase or Cody's return to the company, I think when we were more invested in the product, it was. I don't think a pay per view like this would ever sneak up on us. But the WWE has also done a good job, TKO too, of butchering interest. Therefore, other things have come up, and it's not, and WWE just seems to kind of get on the back burner, in my opinion. But to be fair, even with AEW, I've kind of fallen out of order just because of being busy. So it's a plethora of reasons, in my opinion. But I do think WWE has played a factor in that too. But I'm excited about the show. I think we usually always we come together for SummerSlam and have a good time. Hopefully, the show is good. I think but I also want us to lower your expectations, James. Usually, when I say I'm expecting this show to not be that good, I be pleasantly surprised. Like night two of WrestleMania.
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll do predictions, and if we got enough time, we might have a mass debate. But I'm not promising anything because usually when we talk about Raw and SmackDown, then do predictions, it's about a 3 hour show anyway, and the girls want to leave.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what happens. I'll be like, is it all right for mass debate as well? Anyway, that is it. Until then, I've been James Roners, and I was joined by, of course, the mind of Monty. Monty, thank you for joining me again in NXT.
No problem. My pleasure. My pleasure. Justice for Charlie Dempsey. Justice for Charlie Dempsey.
Yeah, without a doubt. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.